and welcome back to the Dental Hygiene Basics podcast. My name is Dana. I am your host. Always excited to be here and to just wish you best of luck on this journey, future registered dental hygienist. Wherever you're at in the process, keep going, keep up the hard work. I know that it's hard. Maybe you're applying to dental hygiene school, wondering if you'll get in. Maybe you just got accepted and you're like, where do I even start? Or maybe you're in the thick of it, toughing it out, taking boards, wherever you're at, it really doesn't matter. I'm here to encourage you, motivate you. Every week I kind of feel like I should come back on and be like, you guys got this, right? You got this. So keep your heads up, keep shining, keep cleaning the teeth, doing the thing. I'm very excited for all of you, wherever you are in the journey. And today we're really going to be talking about those students who maybe just got their acceptance letters, maybe are getting ready to embark on the dental hygiene program, getting ready to start, and just don't really know what should I be doing with this time? Maybe I have a month left, 2 months left, 3 months left before I start the program. And I kind of feel paralyzed by indecision. What should I be doing? And I want to just give you a couple of tips of some things to consider in this time period that I think that you should consider doing. Okay. So first things first, if you have some time and if you have the opportunity to make a little bit of money, I think that that's a good plan. We are going to be talking about finances a lot, around the time that this podcast comes out, always talking about finances. It's a big question that I like to ask all of my guests who come on the show. How did you pay for dental hygiene school? Because we know this is a factor, right? And going in, oftentimes right off the bat, there are some big expenses that you're going to have to pay for. It could be your instruments, it could be your loupes, it could be new scrubs, it could be shoes for clinic. So a lot of times for clinic, we need to actually wear white wipeable shoes, or sometimes they'll allow you to wear black if your program's a little progressive. Okay. My program allowed me to wear regular tennis shoes, which I think is crazy because my school was so strict. Okay. Whenever we were in clinic, we had to have our hair like pulled back super like tight. It was supposed to be in a bun. It all had to fit underneath our disposable cap, right? But they would even be like your flyaways, like you should I'd be in the mirror trying to comb back my flyaways. I have these crazy hairs that like to stick out, especially when it's humid. And me trying to control my flyaways was just like a wild thing. But anyways, there's things that you're probably going to have to buy. I did have to buy new scrubs for school. I did have to buy, equipment that was required by the school. I actually had to buy I think it was over $2,000. I know it was at least $2,000, a laptop specifically for the program that had my textbooks loaded on it. And that also had my software that I was going to need in clinic, which is crazy to me, right? Like $2,000. And the laptop, I would never have spent $2,000 on this laptop. It literally was like a brick. It weighed so much and I had to carry it to campus every day and my back hurt. But okay, I digress. That's beyond the point. You're going to come across things that you just have to deal with in dental hygiene school and that you're going to have to pay for. So with that being said, if you got some time, just save up a little bit of money. Any little bit helps. Okay. If you have, at least, a minimum emergency fund, I would say if you can get like $300 or $400, that's going to help if you get stuck and you run out of gas one day, or you really need food while you're, I don't know, doing something, or if an unexpected expense comes up, at least you have a little bit of emergency cash. And the goal should be that is emergency cash. You really don't want to use it. But if you can save up more than that, like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, anything. I mean, if you can save up 10,000, that's great because you have that cushion that will help to be a buffer between you and financial stress while you're in the program. Okay. So whatever you can do in this time period to save up a little bit of money, I'm going to highly encourage that, whether you think you need it or not. Okay. The other thing is maybe you don't end up needing it, or maybe you save it until the very end to pay for your board exams, right? We know those are going to cost an arm and a leg, or maybe you don't know, but at some point when you're getting near graduation, you are going to have to take board exams and they are another out of pocket cost. You're going to have to pay for your licensing fees to get your license at the end. So the costs don't end just because dental hygiene school does, right? There are some things that we have to do to finalize and get our license, and those cost money, thousands of dollars typically. Okay, so keep that in mind. So if you're not using the money throughout your program, at least you got it there, that buffer ready for board season. And if you still don't need it for board season, you've got a little bit extra money to start your life after graduation. And maybe that looks like you go on vacation. And, I'm very about being fiscally responsible, and I'm all about, being smart with your money. And I think it's always good to have an emergency fund on hand, even if it's a small amount that is reserved for the worst case scenario. But whenever I graduated dental hygiene school, I did not take a break. I mean, I think I maybe took like a week off before I went and started working. I worked as an assistant at the office I was going to be working at as a hygienist until I got my license. I really never took a break, never took time off. And looking back, I really wish I would have taken off like a month to like completely decompress, like, or really giving myself the opportunity, maybe just tempt a little bit to make a little bit of money, but maybe just gave myself some time to settle in and kind of shed the weight and the emotions of dental hygiene school. I digress again. Okay. But if you have that money when you graduate, you can use it for your beginner starter fund when you go out and you're getting ready to start a job. Or maybe you can use it to take a lovely vacation. There's ways to do both and still be smart and responsible with your money. But just some things to think about. Okay. Any money that you save and you don't use is a benefit to you at some point in your life. Okay, next thing I would do, keep listening to your favorite podcast, listen to Dental Hygiene Basics, keep staying motivated on top of it. You're learning every time you tune in. And if you have questions, please reach out to me. Reach out to me on socials, send me a little message. What are you struggling with? What are you concerned with? I will put out an episode or some type of social media content if you ask me those questions, I promise. So send them over to me and I would love to kind of help you on this beginner journey. But there are other resources that you can use to help you on this journey as well. I say this in almost every episode because my friend Billy, the happy flosser, she has her own podcast. It's incredible, chock full of dental hygiene knowledge, and it is meant for dental hygiene students. There's incredible stuff in there. But one thing that she's recently released is the Starting Strong limited series podcast. It's by Billy, the happy flosser, and it's really designed to be an onboarding series for brand new dental hygiene students. Okay. And it's going to cover some core terminology, time management, a few things that I think will be very beneficial to you. This is a nice free resource that you can use while you're getting ready for the program. Okay. If you want to take it a little step further over here at Dental Hygiene Basics, I have tons of free content definitely on my socials, also here at the podcast where we're talking about things to help you succeed in dental hygiene school. But I also have what I call the Dental Hygiene Basic Training Program. This is designed to be spread out over the course of a month or 2 months. You don't have to rush to work your way through it, but it is that beginner foundational knowledge to help you feel ready to rock and roll on your first day of dental hygiene school. This is not a level of knowledge that's going to carry you through the entire semester. This is really to get you through those first early weeks. And why do I say that? I say that because I want you to get ahead instead of being behind from the get go. This is great for anybody who's like chomping at the bit. If you're the type of person you're like, I'm accepted and I want to get started, like I'm excited, or I'm scared and I want to feel a little bit more prepared going in. It really doesn't matter where you fall in that category. If you're looking for a little bit of extra support and you want to get a jump start, just head over to my website, Dental Hygiene Basics. When you click on applying, go down to the bottom and you'll see where it says Dental Hygiene Basic Training. And you can sign up for that there. It's only $10. Okay. You have access to it for, I think it's like 6 months. And if you need longer access, I don't even care. Just send me an email and I'll extend that. But with that being said, it's really meant to be a course that you work through slowly and you start to build those skills. And I also want it to give you some time to practice some new study techniques like active recall, using your memory to instill these things. So we talk about a lot in this little course. I say little, it's not little. Okay. There's several hours of content, but again, it's designed to just chip away a little bit at a time. It's not that you have to sit down and knock it all out in a day. But if you wanted to, do it within like a 2 week span, that's fine too. But it's only $10. And again, I created that because whenever I was in formal education, many of you may or may not know that I did used to teach formally. I've actually taught at 3 different dental hygiene schools. And at all of the schools, I worked in pre-clinic. I was either the pre-clinic coordinator or I was pre-clinic faculty. Pre-clinic is where you start learning your introductory skills to clinic. Okay. Your hand skills, opening your brand new instruments and kind of learning the features and how to hold them, all of that. But that pre-clinic class is really a big ticket class for the students. And I always kind of felt like I was the one guiding them into their future as a dental hygienist, right? And one thing that I noticed over time, I did have some students that were unsuccessful, not necessarily maybe in my class, but in other classes, or they maybe struggled in the clinic, like in my class or not in others. It just depends. But, going through that journey, over the course of time, 3 different schools, I saw that students struggled with the same things. When they first started dental hygiene school, they already were behind. And it doesn't matter who you are, what experience you have, you're being tossed in and expected to just hit the ground running. And for some of you, you may have been out of school for a while. You may have been taking a break. You may have just been working. Maybe you have no dental experience, or maybe you just feel like you haven't really gotten the hang of studying. This is what I designed this course for. I told, my friends, my family, I said, it wrecked me when students were unsuccessful in the program. And what did I notice about students who were unsuccessful? A lot of times it went back to the very beginning. The footing, the foundation wasn't quite strong enough. Now, the footing and the foundation, that can be affected by many different things, okay? It can be that you're struggling financially. It can be that you're struggling mentally. It can be that you're struggling with the content. But there's things we can do to take that load off of you and make it as seamless of a transition as possible. That's why I'm saying if you can save up some money, take off that financial burden as much as possible. In this time, fill out scholarship applications, right? Try and get as much free money as possible. Take some of that financial weight off. If you maybe struggled a little bit in your prereqs, or you're feeling a little nervous about the information that you're going to learn, or you want to get a jump start, that's where I say the Starting Strong series. Again, it's just a limited series podcast. You can Google Starting Strong Dental Hygiene Student, Happy Flosser, or something like that. It's going to pop up, and you can go through and listen to that. The dental hygiene basic training to give you that foundational knowledge to help get you ready for day one, right? And start to take off a little bit of that emotional load, start to build your knowledge a little bit. And what we're doing is we're setting the foundation for a successful entry into dental hygiene school. Okay. So those are two big factors, right? Financial and then also intellectual. And remember, they're going to teach you everything you need to learn in dental hygiene school. So some people say, don't worry about studying beforehand. And if you fall into that camp, that's okay. If you just want to prioritize self-care this entire time before you get started, that's okay too. I want you to listen to your intuition and see what it's telling you. My intuition told me I needed to start studying, and that's what I did. Okay. So keep that in mind. I'm speaking a little bit for myself as well. Okay. So we have intellectual, we have financial. Another big issue moving into this is the emotions that come along with it. When you're moving into a new program, maybe you're moving to a new city or a new state, you're going to a new school, you're getting to know people, right? It's very scary. It can be disorienting. Not everyone thrives in brand new situations, and that's totally, totally normal. Okay. So a couple of things that I would recommend: just get comfortable going to campus, right? Maybe if you can get there a little bit early, at least like a few weeks before, walk around the campus, figure out where you park, get cozy, like figure out where the coffee place is, or where there's food available, where's the locker rooms, or whatever that they have available for you. Just get a little comfortable. I mean, I'm not telling you to like stalk the campus, but get used to and excited to go there. Okay. It's going to be really exciting, that first day, but it always takes the nerves out if you kind of know, like, where's the classrooms? Where's this? And you may be thinking that sounds crazy because maybe the school you're going to is like super small and everything's in one building. But where I went to school, it was not like that. Okay. It was like a huge campus. I had to pay to park on campus. So I had to have a parking permit, and I got charged every month for it. That was another unexpected fee. Okay. But it was very stressful being like, where do I park? And I had to, get there a little bit early and make sure that there was like good parking. Otherwise, I'd have to like walk really far. So sometimes it's really helpful to kind of see that and get a feel for what is the flow of your day going to look like. If I know classes start at 8, what time do I need to leave my house to get there? I know this may all sound a little bit silly, but preparation powers performance. And if you have an idea of what to expect, it does take a little bit of that stress off of you. Okay. The other thing, and Billy actually talked about this on the Happy Flosser podcast, was one of the most important things when you get into dental hygiene school is building your community. People who build a community, they thrive better. And this is not just in dental hygiene school. This is in life, right? Like, really, as a part of society and as a part of being a human, we need support systems. We need community. And so in this early phase, I'm going to encourage you to start building community, seeking out that support system. This starts with a little bit of reflection. Who supports you already? Okay. For me, when I was going into school, I had a great support system. I lived with my sister. I had a very supportive boyfriend who is now my husband, which is exciting. And my family was supportive of me and my journey, and my friends were as well. But I've talked to other people who have said, people are not supportive. They don't want me to do this. Or I've started school and now all my friends are mad at me because I'm not spending time with them. I really want you to start locking in now, having those conversations, setting the expectations for your friends, your family, your support system, letting them know, I love you so much, but this is my priority the next 2 years. And I'm going to put everything I have to be successful in this program. It's an investment in me. It's an investment in all of us, right? Because we can do hard things, we can succeed, and we can go on and continue to learn and grow and become the humans that we're supposed to be. So I want you to kind of reflect on your support system. Do we need to start beefing that up now? Do we need to start having conversations now? If you're reflecting on the people in your life and you're like, there's a lot of negativity, people aren't really supporting me, that's okay because I want you to make it your mission to go into dental hygiene school and you're going to build that support system with your classmates around you. Okay. With that, making friends, just getting out there. If you're like me, you guys aren't going to believe it. I used to be very, very shy. I'm not anymore. And the reason why is because I literally just exposure therapied myself into no longer being shy. Now, sometimes I am nervous, right? Like when I go into a situation where I don't know anybody, you feel kind of like awkward. That's how most people are going to feel in dental hygiene school. I guarantee though, there are going to be some extroverts. You're going to know who they are. They're going to be loud, laughing, having fun. They're going to be making friends, like scooping them up, right? Find some extroverts, right? To have in your corner. It doesn't mean that maybe that person won't be your best friend for forever, but they're a good person to at least go up and just say hi to because that's what they're used to, right? Like that's what they want is that social interaction. And then maybe if you're more of an introvert, you eventually start to fall in with people who are maybe a little bit more quiet or reserved or who make you feel comfortable. The thing is, let's say that you're in a class of 30 students, right? There are people in that class that can be your community and your support. So if possible, start reaching out to those people sooner. If you have a group chat, a WhatsApp group or something like that with the whole class, that is so good to help start building community. And it's also a good way for you guys to connect with each other, but also help keep each other accountable. Because I know students did that all the time. They'd be like, don't forget, this is due tonight. When I was in school back in the day, we had a Facebook group, we'd be commenting on there, hey, don't forget, this is due tonight. Or is anyone struggling with this? Or would anyone like to get together for a study group tomorrow? If you feel like community isn't being built, build it, right? The thing is, if you feel like there's something that's missing or that you want, chances are there's probably other people out there who are looking for it as well. So I want you to really consider like, how am I going to go into this and build that community? And I want you to consider getting involved as well if you can. If there's a student organization, whether it's within dental hygiene or outside dental hygiene, if it's something that makes you excited and interested, a place where you can make friends. When I was in dental hygiene school, I was a president of our student association, but I was also a committee member on several other committees. Okay. I was like a representative. And through that, I ended up meeting a ton of dental students. I ended up meeting a ton of faculty, which really made a difference when I ended up becoming a faculty at that school later. Like people knew me already, but also sometimes we would play intramural sports. Now, I am not a huge sports person. I did solo, like I did gymnastics growing up, and then I ended up in cheerleading, which is a group sport. But with that being said, like playing volleyball or soccer, I would go and support my classmates, but I was terrible. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be here to cheer you guys on, but I don't think I'm going to be on the court. But it was just fun. Like they got together and they did those things a lot. And sometimes, I would go out there and I would go for a walk around the park and then I would cheer them on while they were playing. And those are just other ways to build community, and those are ways for you guys to have fun together as a class. If there's intramural sports, like get a team going, right? Get out, have some fun, and build that community while you're at it. Okay, so let's reflect. We've talked about intellectual, financial, support systems. Okay, I think the last two that I want to talk about would be mental health. And actually, we're going to talk about mental health. We'll talk a little bit about just physical health and learning help. Okay, so mental health first. You've heard dental hygiene is rigorous. A lot of students that go into dental hygiene school may have mental health issues to begin with, and then they get worse, or they may start experiencing them for the first time in dental hygiene school. I had some issues, anxiety, depression before I went into dental hygiene school, and I was very excited. I was anxious. I was nervous about hygiene school, but I was very much looking forward to it. And I was really loving dental hygiene school, but I started to get really overwhelmed and started having panic attacks and a lot of anxiety because it's so much to manage and juggle. Part of it, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, okay, to be the best that I could be. I've told you guys before, I compete with myself. I wanted to make the most out of this experience. And I did. I really did. I thrived in dental hygiene school, but my mental health suffered because of the way that I went at it, okay? You may not even realize that your mental health is suffering until it's suffering. And I just want to open the door for that conversation because it's something that many students go through. Thankfully, I feel like nowadays, we have a lot more open conversations about mental health. We talk about it a lot more, but I do want to remind you that most schools have some type of mental health support services. Sometimes it may be free counseling. They had that at my school. I was able to get in with a therapist and also a psychotherapist. So I ended up on medication while I was in school, but keep that in mind, or I can't remember what it is, the ones that I can actually prescribe. Okay. But having that good support system makes a difference, but also taking care of your health makes a difference. Okay. Things that will drive you to a lowered state of mental health: not eating enough, not drinking enough water, not sleeping enough. Those are basic physiological needs, and we have to keep those at a high priority. Okay. So if you know that you are the type that tends to shirk everything off and just get super hyper focused and get really stressed out and just like let everything else go, I want you to start thinking about your action plan now. How am I going to prioritize my mental health? Think of it on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you got to do schedule. What does it look like daily? Okay. Truthfully, for me, daily, I needed complete mental decompression over my lunch break. So I would often be found taking a nap on a bench outside in the sun. Okay. I just went full lizard. I just allow myself to lay there and just try and catch some sleep. Right. And that was a big deal for me, and a big deal, I think, for my personal success. For you, it may look like going for a walk around campus. I did that a lot as well too. Get the blood pumping, get outside, see the sun. Okay. Chatting with friends, having a laugh. I knew a group of students that would play games together on their lunch break. And I thought that was so great. I'm like, wow, you need those de-stressor moments. Okay. So how are you going to do that in your daily life, and build it into your schedule now? Okay. We know that you're going to have good time management, good organization. Starting to build out a schedule and get kind of used to living your life off a schedule can be helpful going into dental hygiene school, but you're going to get it figured out. It's going to take tweaking. You're going to have to be flexible, adaptable, but you keep at it, you will get the hang of it. Okay. So, the physical health is eating right, drinking water, making sure that you're moving your body, you're getting enough sleep. Okay. Those are key things that we need as humans to thrive. And we need community to thrive as well. Okay. So there's a lot of factors that we've talked about already. Mental health, we've talked about the free resources that are available, but checking in with your classmates, seeing how everyone's doing, and checking in with yourself regularly. Signs of depression, they can start out super small. You're sleeping more than normal, or you're not sleeping enough. You aren't hungry, or you're super hungry, right? You're eating a lot, or maybe you're barely able to eat at all. When I have anxiety, I feel like I cannot even eat. Like, I have no desire to eat whatsoever. I start losing a lot of weight when I get really anxious. You may be the other way, right? You may gain weight because you start eating more. Everyone has different things that happen when they're under intense stress. So think about that. And you may have never experienced this before in your life, and that's okay. I just want you to be aware of it. So, one thing that we can do to really keep an eye on the mental health is regular journaling. I think it's a good idea if you can, at the end of the day, maybe right before you go to bed, dump out your thoughts, your fears, your anxieties, how you felt about the day, good and bad, and try to end it with something positive, that you're grateful for, because you are going to progress so much through this program, but it's really easy to focus on the negative, especially when you're going through the hardest moments of dental hygiene school, which you will have. Okay. But we have to keep pressing forward, but prioritizing our health in the end. I say this because when I left dental hygiene school, I was maybe the least healthy I'd been in a long time. And I don't think I looked it, because I had lost a lot of weight, but I was running on pure adrenaline. And I, like I said, I could barely eat, had acid reflux, was having panic attacks. Like, I was not in a good state. And I gave myself no time to decompress. I went straight into work and kept going in that like perfectionistic mentality, just kept powering forward. So I just want to mention all this stuff because I want you to think about the long-term trajectory, right? It's like, yes, dental hygiene school is only 2 years, but I want you to set yourself up for success so that when you get to the other side of it, you're like, I can do super hard things while taking care of myself and prioritizing myself. I think that that's really important. And I know that's going to be hard. Some of you may have other outside pressures, family members you have to take care of, children, you may have to work, right? But there is a way to sneak in little things that are good for yourself. Okay. And I want you to cherish those moments while you're in school. Okay, so the last thing that I just want to touch on, if you have had issues with learning in the past, maybe dyslexia, maybe ADHD, maybe you've thought about it, but you haven't been diagnosed, I'm really going to encourage you to take this time to figure out if you have a diagnosis and start the process of talking to your school about accommodations or if you will need them. The reason why is I've seen a lot of students get into the program realize that they are struggling. They have maybe ADHD and it's really impacting their ability to focus and get through the coursework and do what's needed to be done. It's not that they're not capable, it's just they don't have the resources that they need in the moment. So what happens? Usually we're like, "Hey, get over to the school therapist, get the diagnosis, let's start the medication." But the problem is that is not a quick solution because you have to go through, the therapy, learn the things that help to make it better, but you also have to get on the right dosage of medication. You have to find the right medication. That's true with anxiety, depression, ADHD, any of these medications. It doesn't happen overnight, okay? And the problem is if you go down that road and it's already a little bit too late, that's a struggle because then it's going to take you time to actually, get up to speed with that medication. I've seen students end up being not successful because they just didn't have the time on their side to get things underway for that. So think about it now. Start reflecting on that. Is that a conversation that you need to have with your doctor? Do you need to get the documentation that you have accommodations? Do you need to start having those conversations with the school? What does that look like? Do I need extra time on tests? Do I need tests, like read to me or whatever it is? Everyone has specific needs that help them test better. And some of that you may be figuring out as you're going through the program. It does not mean that you're going to be unsuccessful because I know people do it every single day. I am just simply stating all these things because I want your journey to be as easy as possible, knowing that it's going to be the hardest journey in your life. Okay. Not in your life. People go through much worse things than dental hygiene school, but dental hygiene school, you ask most people, they say, I would never want to go back because it's just a lot. And I do not say any of this to scare you because you can absolutely do this. You're listening here today. You're picking up tips. You're thinking through resources. You're coming up with a plan for how to be successful. That is putting you ahead of the curve right now. Now we just take a step back and really reflect, how can I go into this being the strongest student that I can be, knowing that I'm going to be juggling all these different things, knowing that the emotions are going to be up and down. What we're really trying to craft is as resilient of a person as possible. Okay. So I hope you found something great to take away from today's episode. If you're interested in dental hygiene basic training, you can head down to the show notes and find the link to that. I would love for you to sign up, and please feel free. Send me any questions that you have. We're here for you. We want your success. That is why Dental Hygiene Basics was built, to help students get into and succeed in hygiene school. So thank you for listening. Best of luck on your journey, future registered dental hygienist.